Hello, I'm Catherine, the Community Preservation of the Promised Land, Shia and the Jetsons, Community Preservation of the Promised Land. Please go to my website, www.katherinepromise.land. Um, right now, that's right, I need you to go to download Telegram, download the Telegram app. I'm on Shia and the Jetsons, or just look for Miss Catherine Irvin, Irvin. Um, Also go to my Patreon because that's where I'm loading up all my videos. So all my videos will be loaded up here. But I wanted to show you um, how Martin Luther King, because I already uploaded the videos on Patreon, where I can prove to you that Martin Luther King was a gingerbread color outlaw. He was literally like his grandfather or his father, right? His father and his grandfather. They were not coons like you kind of thought they were. No, they were they were defending themselves. Okay, they were defending their lands, and so uh, they were murdering like Bass Reeves people. My great grandfather and my grandfather, they went to war with Bass Reeves because Bass Reeves and the white police officers removed us from our homes, and we were fighting back. Of course, obviously, we have to, right? Well, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, well, their great grandfather was killing Bass Reeves people because, and then some of them went in with them because some of them were Moors, okay? But Chicago, where I'm from, I was born in Chicago, born in Chicago, Illinois, in April 10th, 1968. 6 days, Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4th. I was born April 10th. So, and then when I was four, at least what I could remember, I remember his voice saying, "The promised land. I may not get there with you, but we're going to get to the promised land." I remember that, but I never heard and saw him. Now, when I did as a child, when I turned around 11 and 12, I'm like, I remember, I remember saying that. I remember this guy, that man. I remember that man. He was talking about the promised land. I remember my mother said, "Yeah, how you know about that?" I said, "Yeah, because he was talking about the promised land." And she knew that my mother already knew that I was, because I would say to her things that only a person who was the creator of the promised land would ask questions about. So she was like, "Well, maybe you're supposed to be the one to create the promised land." But anyway, there was things that I would ask her that would lead her up to that. And so I just knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. And I knew that I was going to be the one that I would have to put down the promised land. And so Martin Luther King somehow, some, so Martin Luther King, let me show you a video about, now my point is that Martin Luther King was not, he used to, okay, well, his father and his grandfather had to been some outlaws to defend themselves, so they would kill the government, people that was taking over our lands. So he wasn't like a coon like people thought that Martin Luther King was. He wasn't that. He was trying to infiltrate himself into the CIA because we just been infiltrated. I mean, we were completely taken over. Our great grandparents was murdered and removed. We were taken over. So when the CIA came, Martin Luther King wanted to go in like Neo. Remember when you seen the movie The Matrix, and the sentient beings went inside the body of Neo, and Neo, expanded itself and became and destroyed the government from within. That's what Martin Luther King thought that he could do. But what he didn't know is that he underestimated who he was dealing with. When he's dealing with the CIA and the FBI, he's dealing with real parasites, and I mean like real monsters. But he didn't know that. He didn't know it was that bad that you know what I mean? Because when he was growing up, he was little when his great grandfather was shooting and killing the government. See, because the government, we were the real gingerbread color outlaws because we were out of the government's bounds. We're out of their law, their jurisdiction because they conquered our land. So we're considered outlaws because we would kill them for taking our land. Well, yeah, so Martin Luther King's people is that. And Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson, all of them are still that. And they wanted to go into the CIA because they didn't want to take no for an answer. They didn't want to be like, well, I'm not going to bow down and be singing this kumbaya. We're going to march. We're going to do something. We're going to do something about it. And so because our guns was taken away from them, not only was our we not no no first it was our gold and silver was taken away from us. Homes, gold, silver, all of our possessions was taken away from us. So our weapons was taken away from. We had nothing, right? So Martin Luther King had to go in there and pretend like to go in there to infiltrate it to be. Well, okay, if you're gonna have a CIA, I want to have a CIA department too. I want to have one. I want to have a black one too. That's the real reason why they murdered Dr. Martin Luther King because he said when we go to Washington, we're going to go and pick up our checks. And that's what I wanted to talk about too about the promised land with Obama. He did not talk about the promised land. He only talked about his personal story about what was going on with him in the White House, which was an abomination for him to say because he said that the worst thing that he ever saw in the White House was the Sandy Cookies incident shooting. Sandy Cookies, Sandy, right? No, that's not the worst that you ever saw. The worst that you ever saw was the Freddie Gray incident. Why he never mentioned that? That should have sent a shockwave to every black person. Like, damn. So you said the worst thing that ever happened that you saw in your presidency was some fake Sandy Cookies. It was fake. It was orchestrated by him. And that was the worst thing he ever saw in his presidency. He didn't even mention Freddie Gray or the other Sandra Bland or all of the other horrendous police brutality that happened. That was devastating with Freddie Gray. They broke his spine, threw him in the paddy wagon and let him suffer. Then choked him to death. See that's the most worst thing. But see, Obama didn't say that. He didn't mention Freddie Gray. That right there, that should have really sent a message to all black people right there. Because that right there, just like, that's why I said, damn, that's messed up. This man is an abomination. And whoever can't see that, and whoever think that it's okay for us to keep living, our lives by these, I don't even want to say they people because they not people. If they took over our lands, right? If Obama allowed them to take over our lands because he's with that, then he's an abomination right with him. He's an abomination right with him. But that's what I wanted to say. But about that. But he did not talk about the promised land. I just want to make that clear. He did. He just and that part where he said a call to conscious Martin Luther King. Okay, well he was killing y'all. So Martin Luther King is. So I wanted you to see so I had loaded up the video where you can see where Martin Luther King is not what you think he is. That's Crump TV. Watch Crump TV. But this one right here, I wanted to show you well, see, I can't even show you this. This is why I wanted to just let this be known on YouTube that you have to go to my Patreon channel to see the videos that I'm about to show, but I can't show it on here because I honestly do not want YouTube to even know what I know. Since they don't want me to load up the information that, you need to see, believe me, I don't want them to know it. Shit, the feeling's mutual. I don't want you to know what I know. Shit. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Too much of that juice, didn't you? The fruit juice. Okay, booties. You're okay, mamas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't want them to know what I know. Hmm. Yeah, so I'm just talking. So all my other videos that I'm showing you that Martin Luther King was actually, he wasn't no kumbaya CIA. He was trying to infiltrate himself in there. Okay, and but Crump TV breaks that down and show you that he is not what you think he is. I'm more of a Martin Luther King. I mean, I'm more of a Malcolm X. Excuse me. I'm more of a Malcolm X. But however, all of them were outlaws. They were all killing uh, the the Union, white people that was trying to take their land. Obviously, they have to. This is where I want you to see this video from Raptor News. This woman, she talks about, here's the threat. See, you see this book here, the threat. This is what she's talking about. This woman right here. There was rows and rows of white men that are in rows and rows of suits, as far as the eye can see, and there was miles and of millions of these men, white men, ages from 17 to 27, in this book. And what she's talking about, this is why it's going to happen. Okay. In the other video that I put up on Patreon, I talk about how we're getting to that point where you're going to see. Okay, did you? Okay, see, I've uploaded a video with Dabu 7. I can't even show it to you. See that? I'm just, you got to go to my Patreon channel. But go to my Patreon channel. You will see Dabu 7 talk about how in Los Angeles, California, here in Chino, California. Speaking of Chino Hills, California, because I'm in Chino Hills, California, I had summoned some UFOs, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway. I was so upset about the Obama thing. I was so upset that I summoned some. Anyway, you would see it. It's probably on the news. I don't know. But anyway, I summoned it because I said, you know, you need to show yourself because this was messed up what he did. And we're going to have to do something about that. So I guess they did something about that. But anyway, so, well, they just showed themselves. But I'll get to that in a minute. But the point I'm trying, there's so much stuff. Okay, now this book right here shows that it's going to be rows and rows of men, right? Okay, in orange jumpsuits, okay, and they were made. These men were made on huge spaceships. They were made, okay, to do what? Now, they were made to to kill the police department, the police and people, the white people here that didn't take the shot. And I mean, they gonna fold them up like an envelope. I mean, fold their bodies up, crush them down, and put them on the train. They're all gonna put them on the train and put them in to be quarantined. You gotta go to my Patreon channel. Now, she describes just like here, where people were abducted and they saw rows and rows of white men, armies of white men that were being placed in apartments to learn how to be a human, but they're not. They're here to crush the white people here and put them in FEMA camp trains and stuff. Okay, now, because I don't want to get off track. Now that is leading to Dabu 7. They took the sheriff's department's DNA here, took their DNA and sent it to China to be used as a weapon against them. When they take your DNA and they take it to China, they can cause the white people that they took the DNA, which, okay, like they took the sheriff's DNA, the white sheriff's DNA in Los Angeles. That represents all of the white people's DNA here, because a white person's a police officer is the DNA of all the white people that you see. Do you understand? Well, they took all of the sheriff's DNA and sent it to China. to be used as a weapon. It's on Dabu 7. Or go to my Patreon channel, like I said. Now, okay, so why are they going to use the DNA? They're going to use the DNA to turn them into creatures, to make them where they have to be quarantined, where the universe says, oh my, they really do have to be quarantined now because look at them. They use the DNA to spray it in the air. When they spray it in the air, the sickness goes straight to the person that they took the DNA from, right? To make them sick, to make them whatever, right? Sick enough to where we'll be able to see them, where we be like, ooh, y'all gonna have to get these, get them. And that's when the universe will say, well, see, now we really do have to do something about this depopulation. Now, Fauci and Bill Gates are absolutely the head honcho of all of it. Now, well, why would they kill themselves? Because they have to. Okay, they got it. They got to kill themselves. They got to. Now, I put it all on my go on my Patreon or go on Telegram. Download Telegram app. The Telegram app. Download that and look for my name, either Catherine Irvin or look for Shia and the Jetsons. But look for me. Even on the Patreon, go to my Patreon and look for Miss Catherine Irvin, Katherine, and then Irvin, Irvin, like Julius Irvin. We all like cousins and all that. Kyrie Irvin, same thing. Okay, now, um, so now right here with, see, I can't even show it. Okay, but because this is gonna go on my this is gonna go on my YouTube channel. So I'm not gonna show any videos but mm-mm-mm. Okay, so if this when this crossover to number 2, so when this crossover to number 2, part 2, I'm gonna show this. So as soon as this crossover, I'm gonna show this on the Patreon. But this one right here, I can't show any videos, but just go to my Patreon and you can see this video I'm about to show you. And then also you'll see also about the Chino Hills UFOs that I conjured up, because that Obama thing really just got to me. That was just messed up. What really that was messed up, and I just said, you know what, y'all got to show yourself, because I don't know, shit, y'all can do something, shit, and they did. It shocked the shit out y'all, did it? Sure did. I'm in Chino Hills, right above my house. That's right. Yeah, don't forget it. Don't forget it. Now, so what I'm saying is this. Now, okay, now what Obama said was he made a plaque of himself. That's an abomination. You don't make no plaque about yourself when you didn't do shit. You didn't do nothing. Then you gonna put Obama in the promised land? What? I'm the one that creates the promised land for us to physically go there. Are you telling anybody to physically go there when I sent you the coordinates, the business plan, I sent you everything, the website? The website is there, www.katherinepromise.land. Every single Negro person, gingerbread colored outlaw technically. Yeah, we was killing y'all. Okay, anyway, yeah, that's what we was doing. We beat them outlaws. Anyway, well, whatever you want to call yourself, African American, we are owed monthly land taxes for the rest of our lives. Each and every building of 640 acres that we stand on, that we live on, owes us monthly rent payment. That also includes each and every Negro, whatever you want to call yourself, a free state-of-the-art RV motorhome coach to travel into 13 different promised land areas in our areas, for us to travel and to see the sights. This is what we're supposed to have, because this is what we were doing before the white man, before the white man and $5 Indian and Arabs and Mexicans came here. That's right, sugar. Before I'm watching my grandbaby, so that's what I was saying. That's right, sugar. See, baby bottle. Okay. Anyway, this is what we were doing. We were traveling. We were seeing the sights, and we were seeing the lands and the foods that we were eating. We were doing all these great things. When we talk about raising our vibrational energy, we really were doing that on mountaintops. We were raising our vibrational energy, but not in one house cooped up waiting for some white man to come and kill us. Talking about they're going to give us a shot. We wasn't doing it that way, boo-boo. We weren't doing it in one house. We were in many different houses. Many houses we lived in. That sounds like something biblical. I know, that sounds crazy. But if you can understand, in order for us to get to the promised land, we have to go back to what we used to do because we were removed and we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to kill or get rid of the people that were killing us and that removed us from our home. We were supposed to do that and we stopped doing that. That's why our promised land is removed from us. We don't have it. Well, we do have it. What am I saying? We do have the promised land. We're standing on it. This is our land. They're being removed. This is what I'm trying to show you. They're being removed. Okay? So this is what I'm showing. This is what my videos are about. The book, The Threat, it's a coming threat that's coming to them that I broke down 6, 7, 8 years ago on Facebook with TV Crump. I was showing TV Crump this. He would have to remember it. Oh, and speaking of that, the most conscious person that I know is the one that TV Crump is showing right now on TV. It's the medieval one, part 3. The dude that says, if you have ever went down to the level of what we've have seen, which is demons, vampires, monsters, then you are conscious. Most, in fact, no one that I know is saying what we is saying what I'm saying or have seen what I'm saying. And what TV the guy that he see, I can't show it because I showed it all on my Patreon. You got to go to my Patreon. TV Crump introduced this man is part 3 of the medieval torturing of how white people torture their own kind, and I put it in my book. See, if black people is talking about how white people have tortured their own kind, then you must know that we have become conscious, because you got to learn what did white people do to their kind, then you can understand why we got fucked up. They used to cut in my book. You can see a white boy, his back is split, his skin is split, his ribs is split like a butterfly, and they drain the blood out and they drink the blood. If they can't eat live caribou, like I told you, what are they going to eat? They're going to eat your children, see, because they're not human. And the dude that TV Crump, type in tvcrump.com on YouTube. Right now, he was just live on, and it's a whole hour. He broke it down on what white people do to their people. Now, and then you would have to go to TV Crump a day before that, because he broke down Chicago. I was born in Chicago. Martin Luther King and the Black Panthers came out of, we all came out of Chicago, like, on my mother's side. Okay, and Chicago and Pennsylvania, from Chicago to Baltimore to Pennsylvania, we were outlaws. We was ruthless. We was killing who was ever taking over our land. Okay, TV Crumps break that down on who Martin Luther King really, really is, and what his great-great-grandfather, what if all of our great-grandfathers used to have to do. This is not just my father, because my father absolutely hated coons. My father absolutely hated coons. He couldn't stand them. We couldn't even say the word Jesus Christ in our house. We couldn't have, oh my gosh. Oh, I made a mistake by, I don't know, my mother had these big, thick, huge Bibles down in her, on this bookshelf that a long time ago when I was little. And I kind of brought it out and I looked at him. I'm like, ooh. And you could see, white man Jesus surrounded by some children and beautiful grapevines hanging around like he was going to tell the children a story. And I was like, oh, look at that. And my father had a fit, He was like, should I wish and my father, he's a picture James Evans, Good Times, the father from James Evans from Good Times. James Evans from Good Times. But meaner. Samuel L. Jackson, every other word was a motherfucker. Motherfucker this and motherfucker that. Well, He was like, I wish a motherfucker would worship a goddamn hippie on a stick, wearing a motherfucking diaper and some sandals. Ain't that a bitch? I wish somebody would worship a motherfucker. I'm the one that bring the food on the table, and you gonna worship a motherfucker hippie on the stick? You know, he was talking about mama. You know, like not me, but I'm just saying like he was just talking like upset that black people is so coonish on white Jesus because he was an atheist. He didn't believe in God and Jesus Christ and all that. He didn't believe that there is no God. If you can see little Chinese girls getting killed and murdered and raped, there is no God. If you can see that, and he was in the war. He was in North Korea war back in 1945 because he was old. So he was back in that war. He was literally in that war. That's why he said there's no God. There is no such thing as God. If you can see little Chinese girls getting raped and murdered and killed, it ain't none. Innocent little girls getting raped. He said there is no God. He said you're the God. You're the one that have to save that little girl and be that God for that little girl or whoever getting killed and raped. That's what my father said because he was in the North Korea war where they were killing uh uh Sambos, black gods over there, North Korea, Thailand. Yeah, Buddhas. Vietnam. They was killing Buddhas over there. Who? The people that killed us, that murdered us. Same people. Them Slavs. The Slavic bloodline. If they cannot eat live caribou, live deer that they cut, they slice the deer open, live caribou, and they drink the blood and they eat the meat raw. They don't cook nothing, and they live in Bulgaria and Alaska